This is Food Trucker School, episode 31. Let's do this. What's up, Food Truckers? My name is Pat Flynn, your host today, and as always, and we are here with another great episode and interview to help you take your food truck to the next level. Whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for a while, this is the show for you. Today, we're talking with Shiel Worcester of Jam Bakery. Started, actually, from a very successful Kickstarter campaign. She has locally sourced ingredients, a seasonal menu, and a great attitude about community, which we're going to talk a lot about today, and how food can be a huge part, or should be a huge part, of building that community. Not only just of people who love your food, obviously, but people who love to spread word about your brand, to evangelize, to become your ambassadors so you can sell more food and make more money and do more of what you love to do in that truck of yours. So here we go. Here's the interview with Shiel. All right, what's up, Food Truckers? Pat Flynn here again, and I'm here with Shiel from Jam Bakery. You can check out her site at jam-bakery.com. She's running out of Richmond, Virginia, and I'm so excited to chat with her today. Shiel, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. So kind of tell us your origin story and how sort of Jam Bakery came to be.
Yeah, so Jam Bakery started as I had just recently moved back from New York City, and I had moved to Burlington, and I was looking for a creative outlet outside of work, something that I could have more of a say in. I'd been dreaming of this idea when I was still in New York, and then it kind of developed when I got home. But at the time, it was more, I was just selling to friends and, friends of friends and, just cakes and pies here and there. And I'm living in this apartment with like 5 other roommates. So it wasn't the best situation for me to really jump off at that point. And I knew that, so I was trying to keep it pretty small. And I really wasn't ready to venture out fully on my own yet. Mm-hmm. So at the time, it was more of just this, a really small side project. And then moving forward, I traveled for a few months this past year. And then while traveling, I just kind of realized, like, coming home, I really needed to move forward with this. I'm no means, getting older, but I'm in my mid-20s, and I've been doing this for about 8 years now, baking professionally. And I realized I reached this point where I really want to, venture out on my own and do my own thing.
That's really cool. What was the hardest part about going from sort of side project to then going kind of full time with this?
Yeah, so right now I'm still currently working full time at a restaurant here, and so this is literally, it's like I leave work and then I come home and I have I'm constantly making lists of things that I need to do. So it's definitely still on the side, but it feels like a side thing that's definitely another full time job. So I think just learning to manage my time has been a big thing, and just, staying motivated, because being at work, I still want to be 100% there, mm-hmm. But then I'm building my own business, and that's, terrifying in a way, but exciting, but I just keeping my energy high.
That's awesome. And one thing I saw that you did to help with the creation of Jam Bakery is that you had a Kickstarter campaign. And tell us about that. What gave you the idea to use Kickstarter, and sort of what were you raising money for exactly?
Yeah, so I decided to, I've been exploring different avenues for raising money to get this van, all set up. And Kickstarter really appealed to me because, as I'm in my mid-20s, and I've gone to school and I have a lot of loans and the like. So I wasn't really in the position or comfortable with the idea of going into a bank and, taking out a massive loan. Mm-hmm. And so Kickstarter, it really seemed like a great idea. And so I moved forward with that. And I just really like the platform of Kickstarter. I like that it's accessible to everyone. So I set a goal and I priced everything out. And because I'm not going to be baking inside this van, I'm just going to be purely selling out of the van. It really lowers a lot of costs of other, the traditional food truck. I don't need a commercial catering license. I don't need a lot of the same equipment. Really, this is just, visually, it's to attract people, not necessarily, I'm not going to have a lot of equipment on the actual truck. Mm-hmm. So I was able to keep my costs pretty low.
That's really interesting. I think a lot of people will be encouraged to hear by that because they hear about the cost of having a food truck with all the equipment and all the everything that's needed on there, and it can get into the mid 5-figure range or 6-figure range. But here I see a $6,000 goal, which is not. It's quite
not a lot.
It is, but it isn't. Yeah, you're right. And you obviously met your goal here, $6,846. So first of all, congratulations on getting funded. That's so cool. Okay. How does that feel to have sort of community sort of behind you even before this thing was kind of created?
Yeah, it's wonderful. A big part of what I'm trying to build Jam around is really this sense of community and, working with local farmers and artisans and craftspeople to create, what I'm creating here and we'll be selling out of the van. So it's really wonderful in the end that, my community bands together and supports me. And I've ever since, probably for a few years now, everything I create and make, I either put on Instagram or Facebook. So a lot of these people have been present for, they've watched me develop as a cook, as a baker. So it's almost their journey too, in a way, which I think was really exciting for a lot of people because they've seen me do my work and they see what I can produce. And then for me to be able to raise this money, and, a lot of these people did support me with donations or spreading the word. I think it's really exciting for everyone else too, because they do feel a part of it.
That's really awesome. And I'm on your Facebook page now, which you can find at facebook.com/jambakeshop. And I'm looking at all your delicious food here. I'm just getting really hungry. Yeah. I'm looking at a caramel tart with sliced almonds, pistachios, and cranberries. Man. Okay. Anyway, I should stop looking at that until after the interview. But this is so cool. And I think I would love for you to talk more about this sense of community, because I think that's really important in terms of the success of a food truck. It's really all about the people who you're serving. And the more you can get them to sort of connect, not just with you, but also with each other, the more successful your business is going to be, the happier everybody's going to be. What are some things you're doing to really instill a sense of community into your brand?
Yeah, so a big part of it will be, right now I currently live across from a farm, and so I'll be hopefully sourcing a lot of my eggs from the farm across the road. And this all sounds so too picturesque, perfect, but it's really, it's really what I want Jam to be, focused around. And working with, there's so many small dairy farms and farmers that live near me, and I love the idea of being able to foster these relationships with these people. So that's a big part of it. And then a little further down the road, I definitely want to work with some nonprofits in Burlington and get a philanthropy piece into it. And that's another really big important piece to me too as well.
That's really cool. I think a lot of people have the opportunity to work with local farmers and get local food in their trucks, but maybe they might not not know exactly how to go about doing that. Can you explain a little bit of the process of sort of establishing those relationships with local farmers and how to work together with them so there's something mutually beneficial there?
Yeah, definitely. So right now I currently work, I'm a pastry cook at Hen of the Wood restaurant in Burlington. And they are a farm-to-table restaurant, which is really, it's a wonderful place for me to work. It's not alone, for this reason that I get to, on a daily basis, local farmers, local purveyors are coming in, and I'm able to see, where different ingredients are coming from and get to know these people, which is, that's what I'm trying to build my business around. So I'm lucky to have that job. But it's also just, going to your local farmer's market on the weekend, or, just you're out getting a coffee and talking to your neighbors. That's a big part of it, and I think also just through Facebook, through Instagram, people, local artisans, they'll start following you, and, dialogue will start, which is the beginning of it all.
Mm-hmm. And how, like, what are those conversations like? Like, let's say, are you just like, hey, I got a food truck, you got a farm, let's work together? Or like, is there something else that kind of goes along there? I'm trying to get a little bit more into the details of how this might work.
I mean, I guess I'm pretty blunt with it. Like if I see a product I like, or if I see a business model that I like, I've just been trying to figure out where to source my eggs and dairy from. Usually it will start, if it's not, right across the street, I'll shoot them an email and get it started that way.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like where I'm going to get a lot of my fruit, it's, this older gentleman that owns a berry farm, an hour from me. I've been going there for years, with my family picking berries, and he's not very well known. It's not really, really busy, but it's just like a wonderful, like small connection I can make with this gentleman.
That's super cool. That's awesome. Now, can you talk a little bit more in terms of the production of the food that you have? You're baking off the truck, which is really cool. Where are you doing that exactly?
So right now, the plan is that I will be baking at my apartment. So I'll get, a home bakery license for my apartment.
Okay. I was going to ask about that, yeah.
Yeah, and it may get to the point where it's just completely not doable. So then I will be looking to other avenues. I've definitely talked to my employer, and there'll be further discussions about me maybe renting the kitchen from them, a few days a week in the evenings to bake out of. Vermont is really great. I mean, not only do we have, the people we work for, but also just, church kitchens or, community centers that have kitchen space available for people to use, which is really wonderful.
That's really cool. And then in terms of understanding kind of how much to make, how much to bake, what are your planning processes like? Or do you know, for example, ahead of time what, maybe you have an event that you're going to, that you're going to be going to. How do you plan that out?
So I'm probably, as we move closer to, I'm going to be, right now I only there's one event that happens weekly in the summertime in Burlington, and it's a food truck stop. So it's a bunch of people in Vermont who have built food trucks, and it's a 5-hour event. People can come down and eat and hang out and listen to music. So I'll be applying for a space there, and prior to the truck stop beginning, I'll most likely be writing emails to other vendors, just to get, and also the people that own this particular space, just to get a feel for how many people they see on a Friday night. And then the first Friday will probably be a little hectic, and I may or may not run out. Hopefully I'd run out.
Right.
And then we'll move from there and adjust and change as need be.
That's awesome. Now, before we finish up here, and again, thank you for your time, Shiel. And again, I would recommend everybody go to jam-bakery.com to check out her site. And if you're ever in the Burlington, Vermont area, head on over there and take part in her amazing offerings. What would be some tips you have for people who are just starting out, perhaps with we ask this to all of our guests, but I think, I love the idea of being able to, I wouldn't really call it bootstrap, but maybe, be able to use your home kitchen and be able to do something like this that may not have quite as significant an upfront cost. What are some tips that you have for people who are looking to do something similar to you? Maybe talk about something you wish you had done differently when starting out, or mistakes that you kind of see other people do that you would have people avoid.
So I think with that, just I've noticed with myself, when I was initially selling, or when Jam Bakery kind of was born, I knew I wasn't in the, I was living in this apartment with so many other people, and it wasn't the best setting, and I felt because of that I wasn't 100% behind this, and because I just felt like I could do so much better. So I think really setting yourself up for success, if you are passionate about doing this, set up your home kitchen and, really put 100% effort into it, because it makes the biggest difference, and be proud of what you're producing. I think that's another big thing, be proud of your work, because I think it's so important in this industry that you really love what you do, because if you don't love what you do, then it shows in the final product.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I've spoken to a lot of food truck owners here on the show where, they're in their truck from 6 a.m. till midnight, and then it just happens all over again. And I always ask them, what keeps you going? Why do you continue to do that? And they say it's just the passion for the food and the helping people and stuff like that. Is that where your sort of goals are as well, and what's driving you to keep going with this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm so excited just to, going back to community. I'm, a big part of this, I obviously love what I do. I love baking, and but a big part is that I love to feed people. I love connecting with people, and that combination is just, I know that this upcoming summer is going to be extremely hectic, and I'm probably going to be stressed for a good portion of it. But I know also it's going to be extremely satisfying because I know I'll further get to connect with the people that donated in some way, and I'll get to feed them, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's super awesome. And on the show notes here in this episode, we'll make sure to link to your website and your Facebook page and all that good stuff, and also your Kickstarter campaign so they can see how it was created and put together and how it became successful. Shiel, thank you so much for your time today. This is extremely helpful and educational, but not only that, just completely inspiring, and I know a lot of people are going to get out a lot out of this. Thank you so much. Did I miss anything in terms of helping you, in terms of promotion of what you have going on, or was I able to cover it?
Yeah, that's all wonderful. Thank you so very much for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, and wishing you all the best. All right, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Shiel from Jam Bakery. You can find her at jambakerymobile.com. Thanks again for all that insight, and thank you again for all of you listening. You guys are awesome, and if you're on your truck right now, just have an amazing day, and if you're not or don't yet have a truck, of course, you can get hooked up with some great information to get one started. Head on over to foodtrucker.com/book to check out what we are offering there. Again, foodtrucker.com/book. So far, the people who have picked it up are just raving about it. They love it, and we know you'll love it if you check it out. Thanks so much for listening, and I appreciate it. And of course, if you have time, head on over to iTunes and leave us a quick review and rating on the show. Just look up Food Trucks or Food Trucker, Food Truckr, and you'll find us there. And a review does go a very long way, and plus it motivates us too. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Have a good one, and don't forget what? Don't forget to remember why you're doing what you're doing, and just enjoy the rest of your day and the work that you do, because you are your own boss. Here we go.